Greetings, fellow nerds. I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And it is time for What Are We Watching? Volume 11. You want me to make it go right there? It's gone.
Woo!
So, Michelle, we have like 50 some odd things to go through, so we'll be rather brief because we could probably make a 2-hour video, like a director's cut, maybe turn into a 2.5, 3-hour kind of thing. But I think we'll try to be as brief as possible.
Yeah, we don't need this to be like the Snyder cut on HBO Max, so.
Yeah, that's reserved for the Snyder cut on HBO Max, which I'm very stoked for. First, we're going to look at the TV that we've been watching since our last What Are We Watching video. As for myself and Charlotte mainly, we've been watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Super Shredder. So really the episodes of the 2012 cartoon that had to deal with the Super Shredder kind of saga part of it. It's been really cool so far. As well, going back to an old favorite, Batman the Animated Series. We watched several of that. I mean, it's just such a classic, wonderful... I mean, it's probably the definitive Batman. If I had to nail it down to just one, that's probably it. Also, speaking of the Ninja Turtles, I've also been going back and watching the original 1987 cartoon, Turtle Power. Love it. It's always classic. It still reminds me of my childhood. And as far on our end, Michelle, we've been working our way. We're not quite done with this season yet, but on the Arrowverse, we've been watching season 3 of Arrow. This one gets pretty dark, even for a show like Arrow, which is a fairly dark, serious superhero show. This one gets pretty dark.
Yeah, it does. It's still really good, but it's a heavier season than some of the past ones.
And so I think we're getting through it, and then we'll move on to another one. And then also, we've watched a ton of The Office. We got that Blu-ray box set in. It's been amazing. And especially these early seasons, first time really getting them on Blu-ray. So we've actually watched season 2, season 3, and we're now just about at the end of season 4. So once again, when we start watching The Office and get serious about it, it goes through pretty quick.
It does. I mean, they're only 20-minute episodes roughly, so they go fast.
So with our last What Are We Watching video, we covered a few Christmas movies that we'd already started watching during that time. So we're going to cover the rest of the Christmas videos we watched during the Christmas movie season, which, you know, is probably behind Halloween. Is probably my favorite holiday movie season. We started off, I mean, we've got basically a lot of the classic shorts here. We've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas. We watched Kung Fu Panda Holiday, which is really underrated. I love this one so much. Of course, classic Charlie Brown Christmas. This is required viewing. And the original Christmas classics. Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I know Charlotte loved all of these. I mean, she just had a ball watching these.
Yeah, I think it seemed almost like Kung Fu Panda ended up being her favorite. Maybe also Santa Claus is Coming to Town. She loved both. With
the exception of this was her favorite. How many times did she watch this one day?
4.
She watched it 4 times in a row. She loves it. We love it too. The soundtrack is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Be a Jerk is like the modern holiday Christmas classic. We also watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Were Lost in New York. Michelle, I know these are one of your favorites.
They are. They're just a lot of fun. And the whole dynamic between Kevin and the robbers is just fun.
Yeah, and I really love them as well. And we also watched, we had to have a little bit of comedy going on, so we had to watch Jeff Dunham's Christmas special. And this is just a lot of fun to watch this time of year. I think Walter's probably my least favorite. You know, as time's gone on, like, I don't know, he's kind of become my least favorite. But the rest of them, like Peanut's definitely my favorite.
In this one, I particularly love Ahmed.
Yeah, Poliosis. That's the key word of the day, Poliosis. And then we watched another, I mean, like I said, we have a ton of Christmas favorites that we go through, you know, every year. But this is another one that's like annually must watch. Santa Claus, Tim Allen, funny as all get out. Great stuff.
And that was another one of my childhood favorites.
Mm-hmm. And then this is our kind of Christmas morning traditional kind of movie, The Muppet Christmas Carol. To me, this is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more palatable for kids and just, you know, more fun in general. But it's really cool because Michael Caine plays it so straight. He plays it so actor, you know. And
acting!
Of course he's acting with Muppets, but it's great. And speaking of Muppets, we have the other Muppet Christmas movie. It's A Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie. Also a great one. Definitely feels a lot more like the 2011 Muppets movie.
Just the Muppets,
out. Yeah, this one feels very similar to that to me. In the romantic comedy vein, we watched Love Actually.
I love that movie.
And I think your favorite storyline is the Bill Nighy storyline.
The aging rock star trying to just get a crappy hit out of his old hit song. Yeah, that's he cracks me up throughout the whole film.
And I'm not sure necessarily which one of these is my favorite. I actually think it might be the Hugh Grant one, even though I don't really like Hugh Grant, but I liked the storyline on that one.
Yeah, that one, like they're both adorable. Like, you know, you kind of like you smile throughout all that part. It's great.
Next up is another childhood favorite for me, the original Miracle on 34th Street. I don't need anything to do with that 90s one. It's fine, but this is one for me.
This might be one of the best cinematic Santa Clauses ever.
He's perfect.
He's absolutely perfect.
Fred Gwynn is perfect. Next up was a new one for me, but an old favorite for Chris, 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler.
I mean, I love this film. Now, I've only ever watched this on like Comedy Central. There's a couple of parts on this that I was like, oh, I did not realize that was going to be in there.
And I can honestly say I was not a fan. I gave it its best shot and I wasn't a fan.
That's all right. I'll watch it on my own.
Next up is Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, a really good one. Tim Curry plays a really conniving pipe organ in this, which is pretty cool.
Tim Curry's always a win, and you know, of course, that crew of Beauty and the Beast, that animated version, is just amazing.
And I appreciate that it's all still the original voice cast in this too, because it's usually not that way when they do some of these, not the main feature movies.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Next up, we actually purchased this one used somewhere. Saturday Night Live Christmas compilation, lots of fun. Matt Foley as Santa, not a good idea.
Yeah, and of course the infamous Sweaty Balls.
Yes, oh my
sketch.
gosh.
Oh
How
my
they
gosh.
ever got through that, I will never know.
I will say this is missing one thing that would make this definitive, but the I Wish It Was Christmas Today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Horatio Sands, Chris Kattan, Jimmy Fallon, Tracy Morgan. If they had a skit of that in there, it would be perfect. Unfortunately, it doesn't include it, so you got to go to YouTube.
Next up, the quintessential Christmas movie,
Die Hard.
Duh.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And we've got a whole video on that one debating whether or not it's a Christmas movie in our very first edition of the Great Nerd Debate. So we'll leave a card up above for that one. Next up is the one that probably most people think about on Christmas morning, which is A Christmas Story.
Yep.
And I did grow up watching this one on Christmas morning because, of course, 24 hours of A Christmas Story on TNT has been going on for a long time. But it is great and somehow very relatable.
The older I get, the more I really identify with the father. Absolutely.
And I'm getting the mother's side now. Next up is Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. I think we actually only got through the first one this time, but these are really cute stories. So if you've never picked these up, I think this came from Disney Movie Club, but it's adorable.
Yeah, Charlotte loved that one.
Then we have another Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life.
That's a Christmas Eve love affair right there.
Yes, that's our tradition on Christmas Eve, along with Polar Express. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks in this one is phenomenal, and I love the hot chocolate song.
Yeah.
That's probably weird, but I love that part.
And Tom Hanks joins with Vincent Price in being a national treasure.
Yes, I agree with that. So one that we streamed that we actually don't own hard copy of is a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode of the movie Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've never seen this, you should really look it up. This movie is just called Santa Claus, and it's a movie that was made in Mexico and is dubbed over in English.
And it's bonkers.
It is so weird. Santa lives in space and seems to have enslaved children from all around the world to be his elves.
And they do like
and they fight Satan.
And they do this big musical number with all these kids. Like for the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's Mike Nelson, when Mike Nelson was the guy on the Satellite of Love, and so they're all like riffing on this movie, and the jokes on it are just spectacular. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite episodes of MST3K.
Yes, it is so weird, but it is a Christmas tradition for us. We always pick a night and watch it, stay up late, and just enjoy the hilarity.
So moving away from kind of the Christmas stuff, we watched a ton of other stuff during this time, and especially for me, I had some time off, so I just dug into hardcore Godzilla action. I watched 4 movies from this monstrosity, the Showa era box set of the Godzilla series. This is 15 movies in this box set, but I watched 4 of them. I watched Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I watched Invasion of Astro Monster. I watched Ibera Horror of the Deep, and I watched Son of Godzilla. Now, Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster, and Invasion of Astro Monster are probably 2 of my favorite in the Showa series. When you think about classic Showa era Godzilla, these 2 movies immediately come to mind, along with a few others. Ibera Horror of the Deep, you can really tell that this was supposed to be a King Kong movie. And while it's good, it's not quite as good as Ghidorah or Astro Monster. And then Son of Godzilla, I can kind of take or leave. I'm not the biggest fan of Minya.
Was that the one with the little like baby looking one walking around that looked really doofy?
Yeah.
Okay, I caught part of that and just kind of went.
Yeah, I'm not, but still, they're all enjoyable. I can watch them all except for one, and I'll probably cover that one in the next What Are We Watching, because I'm trying to go through the whole series again, kind of in order. I'll definitely give it its just desserts whenever I get to it.
All right, next up, we decided not to pay ahead of time to watch Mulan, so we just waited until it was available on 4K.
Physical media forever.
And I loved this. Now, I love the animated Mulan because the songs and stuff are great, but as story-wise, this one is so much better.
I really enjoyed this one. I was kind of meh on animated Mulan, but I really liked this one. I thought it went against type for a normal Disney kind of movie.
It definitely did.
It felt more serious, and I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah, it felt more serious, felt more authentic. And this is one of the only Disney live action version of an animated movies I've actually been interested really to see besides Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited about this one and I was really pleased. Next up, we have another childhood favorite of mine, and that is Jumanji with Robin Williams. Robin Williams, Bonnie Hunt, and Kirsten Dunst. Really good, definitely a classic, and a pretty serious take compared to the next one we watched, which was its sequel, The New Ones. So I didn't actually realize until we were doing some looking that this was a direct sequel. And we laughed so hard during this movie. I would say in tone, this one is definitely more intentionally funny, and the other is more like action, sort of serious adventure.
Yeah.
But definitely can't wait to see the next one now.
Yeah, I was really surprised because, I mean, obviously this has been out a while. It just never registered on my radar. I was like, because it just, I don't know, it just didn't catch my fancy. But having watched it now, I'm like, oh, I get it. And so now we'll definitely want to get the next one and watch it as well. It was really good. I was really surprised how much I liked it.
Jack Black may or may not have stolen the show in there.
Yeah, he's amazing as usual.
Next up was the one that was new to me but not new to Chris, and that is Hot Fuzz, one of the Cornetto trilogies.
Yes!
I really liked this. I love these Cornetto trilogy movies, and I really didn't think I was going to. So this isn't my favorite one of the bunch, but I did really enjoy it.
I love how serious Simon Pegg plays it in this.
Yes.
I mean, he plays so straight, and it's amazing.
And then finally, in the silly category, we have Super Troopers. Always a classic.
This is what I rang in the new year with. And the goal was that I timed it just right to where at midnight, Thorny goes, Mother of God. And that was perfect. So what a great way to ring in 2021 by having Ramathorn go, oh, Mother of God. Because 2021 been that way so far. And then another one we watched, I mean, just an absolute classic, The Breakfast Club. I mean, this is one of those movies, like you mentioned this and it just screams 1980s. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's really fun. I mean, everybody in this, there's a reason why this movie is as well regarded as it is. It's a classic. All right. This is another one that was released within the last couple of years that we're just now getting around to watching, and really kind of kicking myself now we didn't watch it sooner. Yesterday. Love this movie. It is so good. And it played completely differently at the end than I thought it was going to.
Yes, me too.
And I mean, I won't spoil anything on it, but it did so well. I mean, you talk about a love letter to the Beatles and a love letter to good music. I mean, I absolutely recommend this. It is amazing.
And this actor is a phenomenal performer. He's great.
Yeah.
He performed the music so well. I loved it.
And Ed Sheeran, you're a disgrace. Hey, dude, really?
That was hilarious.
Dude, you're on my list, dude. All right, so this is another one that I watched on New Year's Eve. I was in a funky mood on New Year's Eve, so I felt like watching zombies. And so we watched Day of the Dead. Or I watched Day of the Dead. You read, because
no thank you.
Yeah. This movie, I mean, I love Night of the Living Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead. This one is a much more cynical sequel to, like, the third one in that trilogy. This is the most cynical one of them all. And it's very bleak, and it's very gory, and it's got a lot going on. Now, I really enjoyed that for what it is. But, you know, again, I love George Romero's movies. So I really love this film for what it is. But now I know some people that would be very turned off by it as well.
Like me.
Speaking of being turned off, we watched High Life. See, I bought High Life. I was thinking, hey, you know, space movie. Michelle, you love space movies.
I do. Okay, and the premise of it, the way that it's framed on IMDb when I looked it up, was that a father and daughter try to survive out in space. Sounds great. Sounds totally cool.
Absolutely.
It's not.
Yeah, Monty and his baby daughter are the last survivors of a damned and dangerous mission to the outer reaches of the solar system. The crew, death row inmates led by Doctor with sinister motives, has vanished. As the mystery of what happened unravels, father and daughter must rely on each other to survive. That is not the movie we watched.
No.
I mean, this was a bizarre, weird... Now, I was really excited to kind of dig into this because Robert Pattinson, you know, really, you know, I'm excited for him as Batman. He's a really great actor, and he is really good in this. This is not his fault.
No, it is not his fault.
But this, I gotta say, it's the very rare occasion where I bought a movie, and this is pretty much going on the sell pile or the giveaway pile.
Yeah, it's almost unwatchable.
Like, it was a struggle to go through. Matter of fact, we chased it later on with Hot Fuzz because this was so, like, we couldn't just end the night on this. We had to finish it with Hot Fuzz.
Because, okay, let me just give you, like, a taste of what we weren't expecting so that you don't make the same mistake. So, we told you the premise. So what it actually is a ship full of convicts who are supposed to be on death row that they basically send out on these space missions because no one cares if they die.
Yeah.
And this wackadoodle doctor that's in charge of them is trying to impregnate the women on this mission from the men that are on this mission. And she's a crackpot.
I mean, she's on there because she murdered her own kids.
Yes, and there's this weird sex box that they have on.
That was almost something out of the movie Seven. That thing was bizarre.
Yes, and it was like supposed to help them like relieve their tension so they didn't have to like be with each other. But it was the creepiest, weirdest scene I've ever watched in anything.
And we watch horror movies, y'all.
And the thing had a car wash at the end. Like somebody got done using it and it car washed afterward.
I mean,
like,
granted. I mean, if you're talking about efficiency, that works, but it was, yeah. Ugh.
Like, I did not go in the back room at the video store. Like, that's not where this movie came from. What did I watch?
Yeah. Like,
Save me!
Yeah, it was bizarre.
I'm still trying to scrub my brain. It hurts.
You want me to make it go right there? It's gone.
Woo!
Now that we got that out of the way, you okay?
I'm fine.
All right, so we're gonna talk about some ones that really make us happy. So first thing we watched, we got around to watching the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet. And y'all, this one's better than Wreck-It Ralph, and we love Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, this one is better. It's definitely better.
Oh, it's so funny. And the scene with the game with the bunny and the kitty.
Yes.
The pancakes. I lost my stuff. And the great thing was, I've kind of figured out by doing some research after the fact that scene was in a trailer, and I guess I didn't pay attention to that. And so the great thing about it is, like, at the end, it's like after the credits, you know, like the little girl that's like watching her iPad on that is sitting there like complaining to her mom that one of the scenes she loved wasn't in the movie, and then it's that scene from the trailer. So it's just and then just like that whole scene takes place and we both lost it. Like, it was so funny. This is a really good movie.
But also just because it's taking place, you know, in the internet, there's a lot of really funny internet-related jokes in there. It's a good time.
Yeah, and of course, John C. Reilly, my spirit animal. He's amazing.
And Sarah Silverman rocks in that.
And we also, with Charlotte, we entered the world of Legos. The Lego Movie. The Lego Movie, the second part. And the Lego Batman movie. Now, this one is one of our favorites. We've covered this one, I think, before. This one is amazing. If you're a Batman fan, this is just a love letter to it, while also parodying it as well. These are also two movies that we love that we just recently got on physical media. And they're just very consistent, very fun, and they've got a lot of heart to them.
They do. They're really good. And it's got a really good cast behind it, too. Some people that you don't even actually realize are the voice actors until you look it up later, but they're awesome. And I know we've covered these in the last one we were watching, but I got them on 4K, so we watched them again. Isn't that awesome? So, Batman, 1989, we've done a review on it. Batman Returns, we've done a review on it, absolutely.
And then this is one we're going to be doing this month, coming up here soon. But with Batman Forever, we'll be doing a review on that. And then we finished off with Batman and Robin. And y'all, I mean, like this is my childhood in 4K right here. So I mean, they're movies I love to revisit again and again. And I know you like some, and there's one, especially one that you're not that crazy about.
Yeah, I actually grew up because it came on TBS or TNT all the time, watching Batman and Robin a lot. I actually had taped that on a VHS at one point and would rewatch it. And I remember watching Batman Forever also. I oddly don't remember the other two coming on, and so I enjoy 89 okay. I do not like Batman Returns. I have tried. I don't like it. But I do enjoy them, even though they're really cheesy.
And, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, like I put it in Batman Returns, you know, I made the point of saying that this is that's probably the most polarizing Batman film of all time, and it definitely earns its title. There's things even though I like the movie that I don't like in it, and I cover that in the review. We also finished out the Dark Knight trilogy by watching The Dark Knight Rises in 4K. I know this is actually your favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, I know for most people it's The Dark Knight. For me, it's The Dark Knight Rises. I think Bane is super interesting. I love Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, and I just think it's a cool ending.
And I know there's a lot of people that think this is a very weak ending to the trilogy. I disagree completely. I think it's an amazing end to the trilogy. It is probably my least favorite of the three. I love Batman Begins. The Dark Knight's my favorite, and definitely but the Dark Knight Rises would be then obviously the weaker one, but it is a very strong film regardless, in my opinion. And I guess you could say this is a Christmas movie, but I put it in this one because, you know, it's all superhero-y kind of stuff. But Shazam! I love this movie so much, Michelle.
I do. It's really cool. It's got a lot of good moments in it, and it's cool the kind of juxtaposition of like the stuff going on with kids versus like him becoming Shazam and doing the superhero stuff. So very cool.
And then we will finish out ours by talking some MCU. We watched, I guess we went in release order. We watched Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, talking about Civil War, this was actually one the first time we saw it in theaters I wasn't that crazy about, but it's one that actually, as I've watched it more and more, it's slowly becoming, you know, probably I would say it's in the top half of the MCU for me now. I think it's just a well done film. Does a good, amazing job of introducing, you know, especially Black Panther, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. But it does a great job of introducing him, and it's a wonderful movie.
Yeah, it does a lot of good things. I think that one's just harder to watch because it's so much more serious in tone than some of the others have been before it.
And I think that's why I like it more, because oftentimes I really like movies that run counter to what the normal way to do things is, and I feel like that was the case with MCU. It definitely takes a darker turn, and I think it works. I think that's what works to its benefit. Doctor Strange, I was not prepared to like this one very much.
Yeah, I wasn't either, and it's become one of my favorites.
And no, it's turned out. I mean, he's actually. And I guess I shouldn't ever doubt Benedict Cumberbatch. You know, shame on me. But I mean, yeah, it's a really good one.
It is.
And then of course the Guardians. What can you say? I mean, it's a fantastic sequel. Kurt Russell is awesome in this. I mean, the Guardians are great as usual. I mean, I'm sorry, Dave Bautista is my favorite of the bunch. Drax, he is so funny. I can't get enough of that dude. I need a Drax solo movie in my life.
So yeah, Drax is great, but I also love Yondu in this because he was kind of this, I don't know, barrier to what was happening in the first one, and in this one he, you know, really comes in and helps out and has a really sweet moment with Star-Lord, so I like it.
Yeah,
a lot.
it was a great ending, and very kind of, you know, very sad, but also they did it in a very awesome way too. Like,
yes.
And let's face it, he's Mary Poppins. And Spider-Man: Homecoming just cements, in my opinion, that Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. And this comes from someone that loves Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and really likes Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I mean, he's just amazing, and he gets the more teenagery kind of feel to that character, which is supposed to be in high school. Now, granted, he's older than that, but still, I just think he does a great job in it. And Michael Keaton as the bad guy in this, as Vulture, he's awesome.
And I don't know the actor's name, but the kid that plays Ned.
Yes.
I love Ned.
And Zendaya is MJ. I mean, you know, she gets introduced kind of in this movie, and we get to hear more of her in the next movie. But, you know, she's great. So now we turn to you. We would love to know what you've been watching. Maybe it'll give us some ideas, and, you know, we can kind of give you some thoughts on that as well. Please let us know in the comments. Also, if you like what we've been doing at Dees Nerds, please subscribe to the channel as well as ring the bell icon so you know whenever those videos are coming out. Also, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so if you miss us in between videos, you can follow us there for content we're posting pretty much daily. And we also have merch, so we have the link down in the description for our Teespring account, so you can go through there. You know, if you see a shirt you like or a mug or whatever, please feel free to buy and support the channel. We greatly appreciate it. You know, so we greatly appreciate, you know, all our subscribers and everything. So until next time, I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
We are Dees Nerds. You guys have a great, safe rest of the day.
Bye.